Okay, guys, we are live, and it is matchup recap day from week 5. It was a wild week. Lots of scoring. If you're anybody but Jared or Justin, everybody put up huge games. I'm going to start it off with the matchup of the week. Heyman and I put on a show. This was a fantasy clinic. Heyman, I got to give props to him, man. He is a fantasy savant. He's like Rain Man. Maybe he's retarded, maybe he's not. Really good at fantasy football either way. Just kidding, buddy. You're not retarded. You are good at fantasy football, though. I got to say, man, I thought I had this thing wrapped up when Wilson and Lockett and the Rams D all kind of shit the bed on Thursday. 'Twas not to be, though. Heyman got monster efforts from Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, Kyle Pitts. The one that annoyed the hell out of me, though, was Austin Ekeler. Austin Ekeler headed into the fourth quarter with like 5 fantasy points, finished with 27.9, just absolutely crushed it, including getting his little bitch ass carried into the end zone by the opposing team and almost costing his team the game because he's stupid. So, not a math competition or anything here. It's not an academic contest. They are playing football. So Austin Ekeler being a total dumbass, doesn't hurt his fantasy prospects. So, I headed into Monday night down a ridiculous amount of points, needing like 60 something. Let's see here, 66 points or so from Lamar Jackson and Jonathan Taylor. Little did I know that they were going to blow past that. Lamar, special shout out to Jared. Thank you for trading me Lamar, who is going to be the best player in fantasy moving forward. There's no doubt about this, guys. He's the GOAT. Lamar is the best player in fantasy, and no, I'm not trading him to any of you. Speaking of not trading to any of you, none of you idiots wanted Chase Claypool. You were, I don't want Claypool. Ben Roethlisberger sucks. I had Joe decline AJ fucking Green for Chase Claypool because he was worried about bye weeks. For God's sake, Joe, pick someone else up on the bye week. Take the better player. How the hell is Joe in first place? He's terrible at this. He has no idea what he's doing. But don't worry, guys. He's not going to finish there. We've seen Joe start hot before, and because he is really bad at this, he won't get better. He does things like turn down Chase Claypool over AJ Green. But he's not the only one. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking on Joe here. None of you would take it, Chase Claypool. And now Juju Smith-Schuster's out for the year, and Chase Claypool is an elite wide receiver 1. I said it. Elite. Top tier. Don't look at me like that. He's that good. Now, Jonathan Taylor, Lamar Jackson, they came up big for me. Can't help but feel a little bad for Heyman. Put up a great effort. Lost anyway. Tough luck. That's what happens when you play the champ. The champ finds a way to get it done. Now, we got Senior versus Jared. And I mean, this one was never really in doubt. I mean, I picked Jared to just kind of throw him a bone. I didn't really think Jared had much of a chance here. It was just a tough matchup for him. You look at Senior side of things, kicking it off Thursday night with DK Metcalf just pistol whipping Jalen Ramsey, made Jalen Ramsey his bitch. But that being said, the Rams won anyway. But DK Metcalf, stud. Deebo Samuel with the poetic justice against Jared, 13.1, getting into the end zone. Alvin Kamara looks like he's full on back, but the big story for Senior, I told Senior before this game, the touchdowns are going to start piling up for Mark Andrews. They just heading into this game. He did not have one single target in the red zone. There is no way that was going to continue. Mark Andrews explodes for what I looked this up, 12th greatest tight end performance in fantasy history. 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions. The man was just absolutely unstoppable all night. Jared's side of things, I mean, I can't gloss over the fact that he sat Justin Herbert, who went out and put up the biggest scoring effort of the season. Herbert looks like a mega stud. Don't bench Herbert. That's the answer. Herbert is a mega freak stud. He's not as good as Lamar Jackson, but he is very, very good. So, Jared, hang in there, buddy. It's now your job to play the role of spoiler. Just plug in your guys, try to win, games. And the first person to lose to Jared, you're going to get it bad in the recap and in the league chat. It's going to be rough. So, congratulations to Senior on, I won't say a well-fought win, just a win, because he played Jared. So, congratulations on beating up on Jared like everybody does. Now, the Breakfast Club, so Reese versus Tony. Tony, tough luck loss, scored 111. He ran into the Derrick Henry buzzsaw. Derrick Henry is – and by the way, Derrick Henry is the only usable piece in Tennessee. A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, they're absolute dog shit. I think it's hilarious that Reese is actually counting on Julio Jones. I don't think I've heard a dumber thing come out of Reese's mouth ever. Like, oh, I'm counting on Julio end of the year. Really? Reese, come on. You can't be that dumb, man. Yeah, I know you're smarter than that. He's probably going to be offering, and he doesn't believe that. So don't buy that shit for a second. Julio didn't make it to week 3 without getting injured. He's going to try and spin him off to one of you other idiots that loves a big name. Don't do it. Don't trade for Julio. I spoke to somebody that was already making an offer for Julio. Jason offered him Tyler Boyd for Julio. Are you out of your mind? Tyler Boyd's way better than Julio. And also, Tyler Boyd will stay on the field. What are you doing? Don't bail Reese out of his terrible trade. Joe bent him over. So while Reese does get the win this week, he takes the biggest L of the week for that trade, maybe the worst trade of the year so far, other than Deebo Samuel for Trey Sermon. That was bad. So that being said, Mike Evans had another blow-up game against a very paltry team, and Mike Evans is going to dominate teams he should dominate. That's where Mike Evans makes his living. Tony's side of things, Mahomes had a really bad game, still scored 17 fantasy points. So, nothing to be concerned about here. The Bills' defense is legit. Zeke Elliott looks awesome lately. I don't know. I got to apologize. I was wrong about Zeke. I'm going to own it. I thought Zeke was a terrible selection at his pick. Turns out he was a great pick, and Tony got one over on me on that one. One thing that Tony did not get one over on me, though, is Chris Carson. Chris Carson is a turd wrapped in burnt hair. He's got nothing. So he's hurt, he's out, and Alex Collins is better. Tony's going to go as Mahomes and Kelsey go, and that they had a down week, so Tony lost. That's how it goes. So there you go. Congratulations on Reese for somehow having a big win and also a huge L this week. Now, you got Joe the Brady Bunch versus Jason Exotic, and Jason gets knocked off by Joe. Josh Allen did his part. Stephon Diggs not pulling his weight right now. James Robinson's getting it done, and Madison's getting it done in Cook's absence. But, Jason put up 110. Again, a lot of scoring this week. Nobody should feel really bad unless you're Justin or Jared. Then you feel terrible because your team sucks. But, man, I got to say, not a bad effort from Jason. But Joe, highest score of the week, 140 points behind 39 points from Tom Brady. And that brings me to another point. I just have to go back to this real quick. It is so rare to score 40 fantasy points in a game. I want to highlight the fact that Tom Brady just had his greatest game as a professional. 411 passing yards, 13 rushing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, no turnovers. He did not hit 40 fantasy points. Jared somehow had Justin Herbert on his bench, who scored 42.86. He traded away Lamar, who scored over 41. That is wild, guys. I don't know what else to say about that. That's crazy. Nick Chubb did Nick Chubb things. I am a little concerned about how many touchdowns Kareem Hunt has taken away, but Nick Chubb's still going to be a top tier RB. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 RB though, given the extreme usage of Hunt. He needs Hunt to go down. Mike Williams has taken over as the alpha dog for the Chargers. He's the number 1 wide out there, and he's got a great connection with Justin Herbert, who's taken the next step forward. So Mike Williams, I expect to be a stud all season long, and those are basically the guys that carried Joe to victory. Emmanuel Sanders, great spot play at Kansas City. Good job. But the biggest win for Joe was absolutely bending Reese over prison rape style and just completely taking advantage of him on that awful deal. The funniest part about this is damn well Joe didn't make that offer. Reese made that offer. Reese took it upon himself to think, what would be good for me today is if I just dropped the soap in front of Joe Garbain. That's what he did. And Joe took advantage. So there you go. Congratulations, Joe. Big win in both facets there. And last and probably least, Vetri gets what might be his only win of the season until he plays Jared. 115-80, takes down Justin. Justin's team is in shambles. He desperately needs McCaffrey back. The good news is McCaffrey will be back this week. Kyler Murray has basically just been meh since week 3. He had those 2 great games to start the year. Everybody was talking about how Kyler was going to crush it. He was going to run away with the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. Well, he's number 7. He's what I thought he was. He's a mid-tier QB1. Nuke Hopkins finally getting going. You got to like seeing that. But for the love of Christ, for the love of everything holy, stop playing Devin Singletary. He's not a thing. He's awful. You're killing me with this. Every week you're giving me an aneurysm in my head because you keep throwing him out there, and I don't know why. Melvin Gordon is going to be phased out as we go. If I'm Justin, I'm looking to trade McCaffrey for a ransom. That's the only way you're fixing this. And you will get a ransom if you trade him, and rightfully so. So my advice to everybody out there, get your bids in on McCaffrey. Go in there. McCaffrey will be back this week. Don't wait for him to go out there and crush it this week. He will. Go get McCaffrey. But, you're going to have to pay up, but he is the best player in fantasy when healthy, except maybe for Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, obviously. Lamar's the best player in fantasy. But Viva Las Vegas. Vetri, congratulations on getting off the schneid here. Finally played Dak, gets the dub. Dak to CD is a real combination. They're awesome. Cortland Sutton looks great. Devontae Adams with a huge effort. But that being said, John took a beating because Saquon Barkley's down again. Now, we don't know the severity of it. They're saying he dodged a bullet, maybe just a low ankle sprain, and hopefully he's back in week 7, week 8, somewhere in there. So there you go. There's your matchup recaps, guys. And I will see you Wednesday for the previews. Congratulations to all the winners, and tough luck to all you losers out there.